Today, I'm diving deep into my own behavior to see if I'm a selfless people pleaser in disguise. Can I uncover the truth about myself? Have you ever stopped to think about your motivations for doing things for others? Do you find yourself always putting others first, even when it leaves you drained and depleted? You might be wondering, what's wrong with that? Isn't being selfless a good thing? And is it, but only if it's genuinely coming from a place of kindness and generosity? The problem arises when our selflessness is actually a tiny or thinly veiled attempt to people please, to earn approval and validation from others. So many of us struggle with this, often without even realizing it. We overcommit ourselves, saying yes to every request, no matter how exhausting or overwhelming it might be. We become emotionally dumping grounds for our friends and family, listening to their problems without ever sharing our own. We put others' needs above our needs, neglecting our own desires and dreams in the process. And what does it get us? It gets us burnout, anxious, and depressed. I know I've been there. I have sacrificed my own happiness to keep the peace, to avoid conflict, to simply feel needed. But at what cost am I doing this? Our relationships become imbalanced and we lose touch with who we truly are. It's a vicious cycle and one that's incredibly hard to break free from. We often find ourselves stuck in this people pleasing trap because we are afraid of being rejected or abandoned. We think that if we don't put others first, they will leave us or stop loving us. It's a deep seated fear that can be really hard to shake. But the truth is, genuine relationships are built on mutual respect and trust, not on our mobility to people's please. So, how do you know if you are a selfless people pleaser in disguise? Do you find yourself constantly seeking validation from others? Do you feel guilty if you can't fulfill someone's request? Do you neglect your own needs and desires to keep others happy? These might be signs that you're trapped in this cycle. Let me give you an example. Have you ever said yes to a social invitation even though you really didn't want to go? Just because you didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings? You were compelled to say yes. And deep inside you, you are not happy that you are going to go there. That's people pleasing. Or how about this? You offer to help a friend move on a Saturday, even though you were really looking forward to having the day to yourself. That's people pleasing too. You might be thinking, but I'm just being a good friend. And I'm not saying you're not. The question is, are you being a good friend at the expense of your own well-being? Or are you being a good friend while you still creating time and moments for your own well-being? Are you doing it because you genuinely want to help or because you're afraid of being rejected or abandoned if you say no? Here's the pivotal realization. Sometimes our selfishness can be a mask for deeper issues like low self-esteem or fear of rejection. So we use the other things to cover up and say yes to everything. Ouch, I know. It's hard to hear, but it's also incredibly liberating to acknowledge this and start working on it. When we confront these underlying issues, we can begin to break free from the people's pleasing cycle and start living a more authentic, fulfilling life. So, to recap, recognizing selfless people pleasing means being honest with ourselves about our motivations, acknowledging the signs, and facing our deep seated fears. It's not easy, but it's worth it. When we prioritize our own self care and well being, we become better friends, partners, and family members. Thanks for watching, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you struggled with selfless people pleasing? What are some strategies that have helped you break free from this cycle? Don't forget to check out my other videos on personal growth and self awareness. And I will see you in my next video.